take that as a yes. A simple fact. If you want this new year to be different, you're going to have to do something different than you did last year. Last Sunday, we started the process of forming realistic resolutions and goals. Today, we're going to deal with a very practical issue that goes along with these new goals. New attitudes. New dreams always require new attitudes. And in the book of Proverbs, Solomon says there's 3 things that you've got to change in this new year. He very simply says, line up, lighten up, and look up. You say, well, what's that mean? Here's what it means. Number 1, you need a new attitude to where you line up the priorities, when you decide what's really important in life. Hey, I know making resolutions is important. I know we don't do it well, but you need to make them because you do not have the time in this new year to do everything that everybody else is going to want you to do for them. So you're going to spend this entire year with other people constantly telling you what to do, or you can decide what's important, set your priorities, and make your own choices. Like we said last Sunday, an intelligent person aims at wise actions, but a fool starts off in many directions. And it's stupid to waste time on useless projects. Remember the Ed Sullivan Show? Remember the guy who spun the plates? How many remember the guy spinning the plates? Wow, you guys are moving up there, aren't you? That's okay. Ed Sullivan stayed on until 1971, so I even remember that. And every time this guy did this, it was always in the back of my mind, why are you doing this? Why in the world would you just want to spin plates for the rest of your life? And then I realized there was a lot of money in spinning plates, so, whatever floats his boat. But the Bible says it's just stupid to waste your time on useless projects. So before you spend another second in this new year, you need to decide, really, what's important. What's really important about this new year? And you're going to have to make some priorities. Now, around here we have a slogan, a principle, and we use it a lot, and we try to enforce it. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Makes a lot of sense because we need to major in this new year in the majors, not the minors. A lot of stuff in life is not wrong. It's just not much. And sometimes we spend all of our time with the not much, barely important things of life, that we skip the really important things of life. And since you only have a certain amount of time, you better line up your priorities and keep that main thing, the main thing, the main thing. Now, how do you do that? Just obvious, you set some plans. You have to spend some serious time thinking about this with your spouse, alone, in private with God. Where is your life going right now? What is the most important thing happening in your life this year? You may not even know, but you have a leading. So notice this verse. We should make plans counting on God to direct us. I've heard a lot of people say, oh no, in this new year, I'm just going to let the Spirit lead me. Well, guess what? That sounds really great, but it's not the way the Bible speaks. The Bible says, make your plans counting on God to give you the wisdom. And if you don't remember anything else today, remember this. Wise people think ahead. They plan their destination. They make priorities. And you have to decide the direction of your life. You need to decide what the most important things in your life will be. You know, more and more people today are making estates. They're writing wills. And the point is to say, when I die, I want this to happen. And that's a great thing. You need to be doing this. Over the years, we've had some wonderful people, leave the church financially in their wills and their estates. And it's a beautiful thing to plan out this ahead of time. But listen to me. If you have a written will for your death today, but don't have a written plan for your life that's left, that means you're better prepared to die than you are to live. And that just doesn't make sense. All of us got to figure out some priorities in this new year. And if you don't decide what's important, somebody else will decide that for you. Jesus lived by priorities. Time and time again, the disciples came to him and said, "You need to do this." And Jesus said, "Nope, no, I don't." So, at each point, there's only 3 today, there's a time in a message where you have to think, and it's called an action point. So right now, I want each of you to think about your priorities. On a scale between 1 and 100, being 100 really, really great, rate your priorities. Do you have any? If you have no priorities at all, give yourself 1 point, because at least right now you're thinking about it. Now, if you have 50 things that you have to accomplish next year, give yourself 1 point, because you have no priorities yet. Things, honestly, a little bit fuzzy about what this new year means for you, the things that you can change about it. Well, give yourself 10, 15 points, because, at least you're thinking about it. If you have already written down a single priority, man, give yourself 90 points, because we said last Sunday, only 2% of the entire world write this stuff down. Line up your priorities. That was easy enough, so let's look at number 2. Lighten up. Lighten up your attitude, please. I am so sick to death of all the drama in this world today. I really almost hate reading the news. I do it on my cell phone. And I'm just incredibly tired of all this useless debates about things that I didn't even know about 2 years ago or even think about, and people's attitude about this stuff and how they do anything and everything to hurt the other. And I'm sick to death of politics, political maneuvering, and backbiting in every organization. I get an email. It's a watchdog place that overlooks the church. And it's kind of a negative thing, because they basically tell you what's happening poorly in the church. And it's so depressing, some of the things even happening within the walls of Christianity. Truthfully, we have politicians who need to get their mouth washed out with soap. Years and years ago, that really worked. They need it now. My point is not so much belaboring all of those things, but there's nothing but trauma and horribly sad news out there. Wars and rumors of wars, as Jesus would say. If Solomon was here, he would simply say, "People, lighten up." He says, worry weighs a person down. An encouraging word cheers a person up. Lighten up. A relaxed attitude lengthens a man's life. You need a little more time in life? Lighten up. Relax. Chill out. A lot of people think stress is something that's out there that's trying to come and get you. My boss causes me stress. My mother-in-law causes me stress. My wife causes me stress. My children cause me stress. My school, my job, my work, my bills. They're all there. They're all things that are really happening in your life, but they're not causing stress. Stress is internal. Stress is an attitude. It's a way you choose to respond. That's why you put two people in the exact same crisis. And one person is going to be cool as a cucumber, and the other person is going to be blown away and fall apart because of the way you handle it on the inside. Well, God says you need to line up your priorities in this new year so you really know where you're going. Number two is you need to lighten up your attitude so you can get there with a little bit of a smile. Some of you, the best thing you can do in this new year is smile. And please, please ease down on the drama. Don't like drama. Laughter is life shock absorber, somebody wrote. And you're going to have tough times this year, just like you had tough times last year. And if you don't learn to laugh at yourself or them, you're not going to be able to handle the next new year. Now, yeah, I know laughing doesn't solve anything, but it makes it a little bit lighter load to carry. 2 laws of stress management. Number 1, don't sweat the small stuff of life. And number 2, it's all small stuff. Lighten up your attitude. Ease down on the drama. You don't have time to be upset about everything that's happening in the world. I've seen people way too serious about life. I have seen preachers way too serious about life. Now, yes, I'm not saying just put your head in the sand. You need to practice what a lot of people call relaxed concern. This is the attitude Jesus had. First words Jesus ever spoke in the Bible were, "I must be about my Father's business." And I think that is so cool because here he is. He's 12 years old, and he's already lined up his priorities at the age 12. So don't think, you can go forever on this. And the last thing he said on the cross, "It is finished." Absolutely beautiful Greek word, tetelestai. You'll read about that in a lot of things. But I want to ask you this. Had every poor person, been made wealthy? No. Jesus says it is finished. Had all the sick people been healed? No. Had every person become a Christian? No. Had every war been stopped? No. Had every hungry mouth been fed? And every sinner found salvation? No. Nevertheless, Jesus said, "It is finished," because he had finished all that God expected him to do. And if God didn't expect Jesus to do everything, I'm fairly certain he doesn't expect any of us to do it all. Listen, newsflash. You're not God. The world doesn't sit on your shoulders. We are not the general managers of the universe. So ease down and lighten up. Now, I'm not saying this to be calloused. I'm just saying do your best and leave the rest to God. Being cheerful keeps you healthy. It's a slow death to be gloomy all the time. There are refrigerators in this church who need to have that verse taped on it. Medical science confirms this. Cheerful people live longer than gloomy people. Every time you laugh, you release a hormone. Raises your immunity level. Every time you laugh, it creates endorphins. You know anything about them? They're just like natural high. Painkillers, your body makes you feel good. And when you laugh, every muscle in your body relaxes. You ever laughed until you fell down? Literally fell down? It's incredibly embarrassing, but it's true. It can happen. So you need to learn to see the humor in life. Rather than get frustrated with the idiot in the other lane, laugh at it. But not then, please. Wait till you get home. Just stay focused on the road. Seriously, you're not going to change anything by worrying, getting angry, or jumping naked into a Bass Pro Shop aquarium. Had to be the most stupidest thing any one person could ever do, but he may have had his reasons. Plato once said, life should be lived as play. And if you don't have any fun in your life, or any fun with your life, then there's not much of your future life that you're going to enjoy. Because life is one problem after another problem. And somewhere in the midst of all of that, you just have to lighten up. Somebody says, well, you know, someday we're going to look back on this and laugh all about it. Well, why wait? Laugh about it now. You can't change it. All right, this is the second part now where you have to score yourself. Am I laughing enough? Am I enjoying life? Scale 1 to 100. Do you act like you were baptized in pickle juice? Give yourself 0 points. Because that's not the way it's supposed to be. You smile a little bit. All right, good, you get 10 points. And you're already learning how to just deal with life's problems with at least a little bit of humor. Then give yourself a lot of points. Number 3, number last, number final. Line up, lighten up, but look up. Reverence for God adds hours to each day. Reverence means to have a deep respect, a deep honor for someone. Reverence means to take God seriously. And listen, I want to tell you something that I wish somebody had told me a long time ago. Let's just say it like that. You can lighten up your attitude and still have a deep respect and honor God and take God seriously. Because, you know, way back then it was, you can't laugh in church. How dare you tell a joke in church? There is no room in a church or a sermon for humor. And out there, on Monday morning, all the elders said, now get out there and save every lost soul in this city. Every night of the week. There were times, many years ago, that I felt so guilty for even going home before 9 p.m. for fear that some elder would see me show up at 7:30 to my own home. The reason you and I get under so much stress is 2 reasons, I think. Number 1, we take ourselves far too seriously. And number 2, we don't take God seriously enough. And I believe that the answer is complicated. It sounds different. We have to lighten up our attitude. We lighten up on being against everything, or just being everything is so wrong. What are we going to do? Gloom, despair, and agony on me. You know that song. And at the same time, we've got to deepen this respect, this honor, this reverence for God. By the way, he says you want extra time. Reverence for God is the way that gets it. You want more strength? It says reverence for God gives a man deep strength. I mean, it's great. But you need to say, Lord, help me line up my priorities. Help me lighten up my attitude and help me look up to you. Solomon will say this for the final verse today. Trust the Lord completely. In everything you do, put God first, and he will direct you and crown your efforts with success. Life revolves around 3 basic things: money, relationships, and time. evaluate yourself. You're not sure there's a God, give yourself at least a point because you're here talking about God. And if you're convinced there is a God, but He's not concerned about you, you're wrong, but give yourself a point for that. If you realize that you have a God who loves you incredibly, then give yourself tons and tons of point. Because these three things, time, money, and relationships. I mean, yeah, money is so important, okay? If you got any spare money, leave it on the stage here for me or something. But it's not the most important thing. You truly need to be smart about your money in this new year. I'm not kidding you on that one. The decisions all of us have to make with financial areas is just magnified and gone crazy. But money comes and money goes. You make it, you lose it, and you'll get it back. It's important, but it's not all that important. Number two is relationships. And you say relationships surely are important because what is it? You can't soar with eagles if you run with the turkeys. And relationships are important because, these are the people you're going to spend eternity with. Think about that, okay? You're going to spend 30, 40, 50 years with a group of believers, and then God's going to send you to heaven and make you live with the Michigan people? No. It comes down to your most important possession is your time. Because when it's gone, it is gone. You can't get any more back. By my calculations, you have 351 more days in this year, and you will never get a single day back. You're going to exchange all of those days for something. Some days for nothing, maybe just lying on the beach. Other days to make money, other days for prestige, pleasure, and power. I'm just saying we need to change our attitude a little bit here. Let's line up our priorities. Let's lighten up our attitude, please. And let's put God back as we look up to God in all the relationships of life. Share a final song, guys.
I think that was a great verse to end with. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Put God first. Lean not on your own understanding.